Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Heidi, and today I'm going to talk about alternative schooling versus homeschooling if you're thinking of taking your child out of school, but also if you want to consider what I'm calling the new way in going the highest path for our children, because we are in a new age, and so it's really good to look at all of these systems and structures and everything that's been there in the past to see where we're going forth to. So let's first look at alternative schooling. Sometimes people think, I'll take my child out of school and put them in an alternative school. And yes, this can be a way. And what I'm going to talk about first is the highest path for our children. Then we're going to look at the more human paths that we've picked that aren't necessarily the perfect path. And so we don't have to shame ourselves if we go, oh, whoops, have I made the wrong decision? It's actually, oh, there's the highest path. I can still move towards that if and when I choose in all sorts of different ways as well. So with the alternative schooling, typically I'll talk about Montessori and Steiner. What I found is my guides haven't let me actually look into it in thorough detail of these systems because they still are a particular paradigm of this is how things need to be done, and this is how we work. But what I have found is I only need to feel into a couple of golden keys and then I get enough. So for example, one of them, I can't even remember which one, doesn't encourage reading until kids are, a fair bit older, like 7 or so. And what I've found is from downloading it through my son is that some of the children, which I say the ones that have more starry energy, are very good with detail, memory, codes like reading. And so my son, he literally gleaned reading himself at, starting from 2, he was reading by 3.5. And so that's where straight away I went, oh, that system wouldn't work for a child like that. A child like that, and that's where we have to understand every child is unique. Every way in guiding them to their higher path is unique. And so we actually have to be not one size fits all, which is an interesting path for us as mums. So that's what I've found is that particularly Steiner, bringing through all this information and whatnot, which is awesome and it's really good to consider because there are golden keys in it, but also coming back to my child and what are they like. Some children I call the Teflon children. They won't take being told what to do any direction. Other people putting old stuff on them. They need to go their own path or they get very angry and they get tight in their jaw typically. Being a speech pathologist, I've seen a lot of those children, including my other son, who will always show up in his face where he's like, I'm choking this stuff down that you're making me do. And of course, then we've heard, there's a lot of children out there that do have the experience and a traumatic experience of being one of those children that needs to go their own way and being told what to do in a Montessori and Steiner setting. So if your child's not fitting at school, it doesn't mean that they're going to fit in an alternative school, especially if you can already see they are an independent sort and they like to resist being told what to do. They need their freedom. The other thing is the other children who are more the sponges. Yes, sir, no, sir, I'll do what you tell me, the naive ones. They're the ones, again, typically with the starry energy who, don't look like they've been here on earth before and they've had that pattern of being told what to do and so they take that on. That's not necessarily a good place for a child to be in the school system or even an alternative system if they're taking stuff on that doesn't actually sit with them deep down. And so that's where it's really important to tune into your child, what they're all about, but also really gauging how they feel about being in this environment and actually practicing before you even take them out and put them into a new system. What would that honestly be like? And really matching in what you know of that system with your child and getting honest, because then straight away when you get honest, you know what it's going to be like. And then we're not kidding ourselves with what we're putting our children into. So that being said, some people then look at the homeschooling, and the homeschooling is still another system because you still, if you're registered, have to make a curriculum and have to sign off on that stuff. That's what I see as homeschooling, that term, is that we're doing it on the side and we are way more flexible. We can make up our own goals, but we are still reporting to someone else. Our children are doing tasks to prove something to someone else, which is something we don't actually want to get to, and something us adults would not choke down very well if we had to do it, put that in your journal, everything, last thing that you did just to prove that you've done something that lit you up. So that's where I move forward to the new way. And again, this is something that like I'm even practicing as I homeschool my children with, registration and all of that stuff, but practicing that new way of actually really tuning into our children and going, what would they want? What are they all about? What lights them up? And so then you can create a better curriculum for them anyway. But then you're really paying attention to them when there's any resistance. It's a dead end, and we need to listen to that. Their resistance is something we don't often want to hear because we might not have the time, the patience, the energy, or we're sensing judgment from other people if they don't do it like we feel like they should. But actually, that is the way forward to flow when we can move through all those obstacles. And once you've worked through those obstacles, there is glory on the other side in people being on board, people going, wow, look what they're doing. But in essence, it's your child that's moving to their highest path. So you have to be prepared to work through those shadows to get them to the highest path. And that brings all sorts of things for us to look at as far as me as a mum, can I hold that space for my child? Am I deconditioned and deschooled enough to be able to do that? And really where the resistance come from them to meet that and go, okay, for me, it's brought up the shadows. Of course, you get frustrated. You're like, oh, but I just need you to do this, or I want you to do this, or I've just got all this stuff that I thought would be good for you. No, every last child, no matter how they present, the new children, and really us adults as children too, did not and does not want to be told what to do, not even a how about you, not even if it seems good to us and maybe to them, it's still checking in with, does that light you up? Because that's the most important thing. If our children can learn to sense what lights me up and what doesn't light me up, then they will go forth in the world trusting themselves with that. Compared with us adults who really go, if I had all the freedom in the world, have all the money, couldn't fail, what would I do with myself? A lot of us have no idea how to answer that question because we really don't know what actually lights me up really and truly. And it's a fine game of what do you call it, discernment in figuring that out, because our first thoughts, I might sit around and read a book or go out to the beach, is actually not the answer, because that we'd get sick of it after a while. And so because we've actually got more passions and motivations and missions in ourselves as well. So that's the aim, is to get our children to that point. If they're in any type of schooling with any type of curriculum, there is an interesting path, because there will be resistance when they go, whoa, that's not what I'm about. And that's where we either hold that space as a mother to see that and really work with the people around us that are judging to really show that. And that might be inner work first for us to go, I'm feeling really attacked right now. I'm feeling really judged, and bringing up all of that, any shame, all that old stuff. There is piles of it to do, and that is the work in going forth to the highest path. Once you've done that, then there is things getting the husband on board, really working the logistics of your life so that you have the time and the space to hold this space for them. You can be at home, but if you're busy and mentally in your head, they will sense that and they will not settle down and get into their highest their highest light, their activities that they find enjoyment out of. They will keep stuffing around and fluffing around because they're sensing that mum's not really holding that grounded present space. So it really does come back to, whoa, I have a fair bit of inner work there. And that is why it has taken me years to manifest my children out of school, but also bang, by the time we've done it, we have hit the ground running into flow fairly quickly. And in saying that, there's still been a lot of inner work for myself. That's basically been it, is for me to let go, and to really keep trust with my child. And then also trusting our, wives being husbands and partners are in there for a reason as well. So that's the highest path. Going the human path, there is that type of thing of, I can see what I want to do. I totally get you, Heidi, but I don't have the money, or right now it just really doesn't seem possible for XYZ reasons. And that is fair, because you can't. It's like a travelator. You can't jump off the travelator onto another one. You have to finish that travelator, then get off, and then get onto the next travelator. So just because you can see the best travelator beside you doesn't mean you can get on it straight away. And that's the most important thing for you as a mum, is to hold that vision, to say, yes, I'm holding the highest path vision. The universe will take care of the rest, even if it takes 5 years. And then it's again back to us to let go of the impatience and the feeling of guilt, the feeling of all that, oh my gosh, you know, what am I doing to my children? And there is plenty of inner work to be done on this path. If you don't do it, the travelator just gets longer and longer before you can get off. So that's what I've been doing for the last few years, is really letting go of the anger at the school system. The teachers, principals that came at me really did give me the prods and the triggers to let that stuff go. And it was huge because of my experience at school, which as a child, I didn't realize I was the good girl, swallowed it all down. But I didn't realize how much I was swallowing down until my son started bringing up stories of what was going on. And I had to get honest and agree with them and go, yeah, it's ridiculous. And whoa, what am I doing here? So that's it in a nutshell. Go at whichever path that you feel to, but that's the most important thing, is to really feel down each timeline. Okay, so if I did this, this is what it would be like, and getting honest. And then if I did this, and sometimes you go straight away, oh, that would be an issue. I couldn't even stand that. And you go, okay, it's not even an option then. Bang, close that door. And so, yeah, the alternative schools, sometimes it'll be just the right thing and your child just needed that. It can be that step sideways to get them out of the school system first before, you know, while you're getting yourself even, you know, moving towards the highest path stuff. That's the main bit, is that you're not shaming and judging yourself, which it will come. I've done it a lot. I'm not doing good enough. I'm not doing it quick enough. My children are suffering. But that's the main bit, is to know that you are learning stuff along the way, and so are they. So, well, good luck, I will say, to making those decisions and going that path that you feel like, yep, this feels right. But also then staying open to the highest path, that it might change at any time. And that's the main bit, is that we're prepared to jump on the lily pads whenever it needs to happen. And we go, oh, yep, there's the next change. Off I go, because I have my vision that meets up with it. So if you have any questions, leave it in the comments. Otherwise, you can check me out on my website, heidi.hosking.com. I have online courses and mentorships. But otherwise, subscribe to this channel. I'm doing more and more videos, so you can catch me here again. Bye.